What do you guys think are the major concerns that people have in today's world? What are the biggest concerns that they think about? Let me share with you, Gallup just recently did a poll on the biggest concerns that people feel like they're facing today in their country. And for economic problems, they feel like the economy in general, the high cost of living and inflation, the federal budget and the deficit and the gap between the rich and the poor and unemployment. Those are the top 5 concerns that people have for the economy. The non-economic problems is that they feel like the government and poor leadership is in place. They worry about immigration. They worry about crime and violence. They worry about guns and gun control. And the last one is they worry about the unifying the country and even ethics and moral divide. This is what's on people's minds. And so I found it really interesting how when we as real estate agents get into this environment of being salespeople, sometimes we have the opportunity to work with the truth, or we have the opportunity to work around the truth. I don't know if you guys has anyone ever been offered to be on House Hunters? I was offered to be on House Hunters multiple times. Just so you guys know, it is completely staged. You have to take a week off of doing all real estate. You have to agree, and your clients have to agree to 5 days of filming. They pick 3 properties, one of which your clients already own, and 2 of them are active listings on the market. And what they do is they go through and they show these properties, and it's either already one that they're moved into already, or it's one that you're already under contract for and you have like mortgage commitment. So it's really, really challenging. On top of it, they will tell you who to pick for clients. You have to interview for it. So people like Adam and Michaela, this sweet all-American couple, might apply for that. Or a beautiful, story of, Adam and Stephanie with their 3 boys. That would be like really cool. But also they want something dramatic. They might say Jenna and Andrew go on the show, and they'll make it like really, really dramatic. And they'll make Andrew, be super like rude to Jenna, or like Jenna be rude. They just want people to watch the show, right? And I remember there was one episode, it was like a really big deal when I first got started into real estate. It was probably 15 years ago. And there was one of my buddies, his name is Evan, and he's with William Ravis. And at the time he went on the show, and on the show, for every property that this couple saw in West Hartford, Evan had a response. He had something to say to a problem that was showing up. Let me give you an example. They'd walk into a room and they'd be like, the dining room's a little small. And Evan would go, well, you could just put a circle table here in the room, and you could put 4. And how often are you really in there with everybody? And then they'd walk into the master bedroom, and, they'd be like, I don't know if this can fit a queen. And he'd be like, well, snuggling up is great. Let's put a queen mattress in there instead of the king. And, we'll see what we can do with that. And then, they had item after item after item, even if it was a busy road or whatever. And maybe it was the producers, or it's my buddy Evan, but he was constantly trying to work around the truth of the matter. Like, these properties just didn't fit really well. And at one part in the episode, they go upstairs and they said, Evan, I think we like this house. The only problem is it doesn't have central air. And Evan goes, well, it doesn't get that hot in summers. You could always open the windows. And my buddy goes, Evan, do you got a response for that one? And it was like this awkward moment where obviously the viewers are going to think that's interesting, this awkwardness between the parties. But it just really cements this idea that real estate agents and salespeople in general generally try to work around the truth. It's not really that bad. In the front porch, I got a guy and he can always repair that. And, the house isn't that small. And, it's cozy. And we work with all these words around. And the biggest thing that we're doing, my friends, is we're going into a really challenging economic time. Housing has never been less affordable than it is right now. And we're like, don't worry, there was 14% interest rates before, and don't worry, the houses aren't that bad. And we're trying to work around the truth, and we're wondering why we're so frustrated with people, because they just don't want to buy a house at a time where it's not affordable. And so my pump-up call today, guys, is how do we work with the truth? Getting right out in front of things. You know, I talk with my ISA department here, our ISA department here, and one of the first calls when they say, no, we're all set, we decided not to buy, it's, hey guys, did you take a pause because of rising interest rates and rising house prices? And many times people say yes. How do we know? It's because this is the number one concern on people's minds right now. The economy, affordability, it's a major concern. And when you're out there being like, it's not that bad, don't worry about it, people look at you like, bro, you're just another realtor trying to push me into a house so you can make a paycheck and pay your own bills, which are higher than they were last year. Am I wrong? No, I'm not wrong. And so what I encourage you guys to do today is step right out in front of the truth and learn to be people who provide solutions. Hey, man, housing is not super affordable right now, and it doesn't look like it's going to be any more affordable into the future. So here's the thing. Let me give you an example of situations where people have had great opportunities, even in a very expensive environment. Let me touch on one more thing. We've got 1 minute left. Earlier this week on the pump-up calls, we talked about 4 different types of selling. We talked about the transactional type. We talked about the consultative type. We talked about all these different ones until we got to what is the provocative type of selling. It's the type of selling that people say, I didn't even know that I needed this. And when I start to see this, I get away even from the consultative approach, which is cool. I'm not even in the transactional. I'm not even in any of that stuff. I'm going to that provocative. And that provocative style says, here's what I am missing by even not being inside of this rising interest rate, rising price, low level, like not very affordable environment. What would it mean if I did buy a house? What could that look like for me? And giving specific examples from people. So my encouragement to you today is this: find some friends who have bought houses recently. Ask clients recently who have bought the house and ask them to do a quick little blurb back to you. Hey, was this helpful? Yes, regardless of this, we wanted this house anyways. We needed it for our growing family, and we decided to take care of some solutions that you had. Is it still less affordable than it was years ago? Absolutely. But here's why it's still a really good idea. Guys, you don't need to convince anyone. You don't need to work around the truth, no matter what it is. Build trust with people, which will lead to more sales by working with the truth, not around it. Thanks so much for joining, guys. Have a wonderful day. We'll see you soon.